Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Lysha and I'm the owner of Lysha Be Creative, where we create all things with glitter, rhinestones, keychains, literally you name it. I probably have done it on this channel, but today we are here for a tutorial, my first holiday cup of the season. So I'm very excited to show you guys this tutorial start to finish. Of course, all of the products that I use in my videos, they're always listed down in the description box. Should you not see something, be sure to comment and I'll be sure to get you those links. But I always usually have discount codes as well in the description box to save you a little bit of extra money so that you can ensure that you can create some beautiful, gorgeous holiday gifts this holiday season. So I hope you're excited for this one as much as I am, but let's go ahead and get started. So we are starting today with a 40-ounce Betty. This is a big Betty from the Tipsy Magnolia. I do have a discount code down in the description box. I did go ahead, I spray painted this cup with a green spray paint, but I actually am going to end up coloring or glittering, I should say, the handle a different color. So I am using Mod Podge to adhere my glitter for today. We are going to be using this really gorgeous green glitter from Vinyl Gallery. I will link that down in the description box for you all as well. This just gives me spruce tree vibes, totally traditional Christmas vibes here, and I am here for it. Typically, traditional Christmas vibes is not my thing. I always try and do different things on the channel, but for whatever reason, as I was going through all of my items that I had for the holiday season, I saw some really gorgeous patterns, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, and I just knew I needed to go with the traditional red and green colors to be able to really capture the vision that I have for this big Betty here. So after we've gone in with our green, we're going to go in with our red here. This is Red Gem from Lysha Creations, who no longer sells glitter, but any bright red that just speaks to you will work. I will link one from Batty Glitter that I think would be a great alternative to this color in case you don't have this on hand. So after that has been glittered, I will allow that to dry fully, and then we'll go ahead and spray seal this and then epoxy this until smooth. So these are the vinyl patterns that I'm going to be using. They are all from Flynn Sister Supply Shop. It was her Holly Jolly Christmas pack, which she still does have on the website. You can buy these in single sheets or you can buy them in the pack. I definitely encourage you to buy the pack because you do get 2 of each of the vinyls. And so it's perfect if you're going to be making more than one cup this holiday season. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the red plaid that was in this bundle. I've cut about probably a 2 to 2.5 inch strip of vinyl here, and we're going to apply this to the tumbler. So this is going to be kind of close to the handle on both sides, but as you guys know, if you've ever tried to apply something that's completely straight onto a curved surface, you're going to have a little bit of issue once you get to that curve. So in order to help you be able to smooth down this vinyl with minimal wrinkling here at that curve, use your heat gun. So any sort of embossing gun or heat gun, something that's going to apply some warm air to that vinyl is going to help to stretch that vinyl a little bit and make it a bit more malleable to be able to conform to the curve of the tumbler. I will say that you are going to want to be careful when you're doing this anytime you're applying heat to vinyl, because it does heat the vinyl up and allow it to stretch. It also is very possible for you to warp the actual images on the vinyl. So just be mindful of that you're not pulling and tugging too much, because that then would obviously change the dimensions of the vinyl that you may be trying to smooth down. And we don't want that, of course, because then we'd go from having this really beautiful rectangle to having some sort of stretched out warp craziness that could look in this curved area. So once I'm done getting it kind of as smooth as I can, I'm going to go in with a little bit of heat and my squeegee to smooth down that area. Now, you're probably going to get a wrinkle or two, potentially. You definitely could go back and spend even more time smoothing out that section. I would encourage you to do that. But you may have a wrinkle or so, which is, makes a lot of sense when you're trying to put something that's straight-sided onto a curved tumbler. But I know that I'm forward thinking. I know that my area here is going to be covered by a really pretty plaid bow that kind of goes over this section. So I'm not too stressed out about some of those wrinkled areas. I do want this to be as straight as possible and as smooth as possible, but I'm also forward thinking and knowing that any blemish or any issues that I foresee, I'm already going to be able to cover up because it'll be hidden behind a bow. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use this vintage toy, this vintage like box vinyl. I can't remember what it's called, but of course it's linked down in the description box. And we're just going to cut some of these out, just kind of following the pattern on the vinyl and just cutting out a section of this, you know, following the edges of all of the different vintage items on this vinyl. And we're going to use this to place this in that open green area in between our two plaid sections here. So we have a larger piece that's going to go on this larger green section up top on the top part. And then we will also cut a smaller section to fit under the handled area too. When I'm creating these kinds of cups, which I've done quite a few of these on my channel, we're calling them like collage style or scrapbook style cups. And I have clearly been loving them because I've made them nonstop. I'm always trying to cover up glitter, but also allow it to still be present. So utilizing the vinyl to cover up some of those spaces kind of just adds to the cohesiveness of the entire process, if that makes sense, or the entire vision for the cup, because then I can ensure that you're still seeing that glitter, but you're still getting so many different fun elements with all these different vinyl patterns and such to really just, you know, be able to look at the tumbler in a different view every time that you're drinking out of it. So then we're going to take the Santa patterns and we'll go ahead and cut out a few Santas. Those are going to fit in our lower open green sections here. Little vintage Santa, gotta love him. Love him, love him. And then now we can go ahead and move on to doing the vinyl work or the washi tape work here. So I'm taking a gold washi tape that it's the traditional pack, metallic pack that I get when I go to Hobby Lobby. And we're going to use that gold to outline all of the plaid areas here. So all of the plaid on both sides we'll go ahead and outline. We'll even outline both the bottom and the top of that vinyl as well. And be mindful here as you get to the curve, of course, don't pull your washi tape too taut because it will create a little bit of a gap. Make sure that you're smoothing those sections down and you have enough washi tape to go from the top to the bottom. Over top of the gold, we're going to add a thin like nail tape in metallic red over the top of that gold to really just brighten it up a little bit. Add a little bit more dimension, add a little bit more red to this tumbler here as well. So we're outlining that around the entire plaid areas as well. I did also take that red washi tape and outline all of the vintage boxed items. So that other vinyl that I used, I just used red washi tape or the red nail tape to be able to outline those areas as well. So those kind of pop up as well as you're looking around the cup. Now we can go ahead and move on to our UV DTF. So this UV DTF is one I used to carry on my website. I unfortunately no longer have this. I purchased it from a vendor quite a while, a few years ago. So I don't have this anymore, but I will find something similar that you could have printed, you know, at your local UVDTF seller so that you could utilize some of these cute little vintage elements that would be perfect for this style and design. But we're going to use these on the handle and all over the cup. So I'm going to do the handle first. I got a couple bows, this cute little Christmas tree that'll go there too. And then of course, I'll use some of the other elements, which included like a gift with a bow, a candy cane, a few additional bows, and then this cute little like hot cocoa with whipped topper image that was also on there. And we'll just use that to put on some of that green open space by the handle. And then I'll also put some along the plaid vinyl to just kind of break up some of that plaid vinyl there and just be able to see some of those other holiday related elements all over the cup. So once we have finished this, I am going to go ahead and seal this before I add our final UV DTF. So we'll go ahead and seal this with a bit of polyacrylic. It is what I typically go to when I'm going to be using UV DTF or using washi tape. It helps ensure that my washi tape stays down, that my UV DTF does not create any fish eyes or repel my epoxy. So we'll add just a very thin layer of this all over the cup. So all over the vinyl elements, all over our washi tape, and all over the UV DTF before we put this on the turner for another coat of epoxy. So this coat of epoxy is going to seal in all of our vinyl elements, all of our washi tape, and all of the UV DTF that we have present on the cup. And then what I'm going to do is I went over to my Eufy Make and I found some really pretty plaid bows, like Christmas themed bows. And so I went ahead and printed a few large style bows. I used the green plaid because I knew that I was going to be laying this over the red plaid section. And so I printed a few of these in pretty large size, probably about 3 to 3.5 inches wide, and we're going to place those directly over the plaid towards the bottom. So it will kind of overlap a little bit of vintage Santa down at the bottom, but I think it's just so cute, and it gives me the, I don't know if anybody has seen those super cute sweatshirts that have the cute little like slits in the sides with the bows. It just gives me that kind of vibe. And so I just love how this looks. So because this is a larger bow though, I am going to kind of have to cut away some, or cut down through some of that transfer tape on top to just allow me to stretch that over that kind of sort of curved area, since it will touch a bit of the curve, to ensure that this goes on smooth and I don't end up cracking the washi tape or cracking the UV DTF as I apply it, or having it rip or break or what have you. So just, you know, with my scissors cutting that section so that I can easily smooth that over the curved area and not introduce any creases or bubbles under my UV DTF. Then we'll go ahead and remove the transfer tape, or the transfer sheet, I should say, over top of this. And then it's ready to do its final coats of epoxy. So I will seal these sections again with polyacrylic, which I'm not going to show you again since I already showed you that process, but I will go ahead and seal this, and it'll go on the turner for another coat of epoxy while we go ahead and work on the topper. So these two pieces and elements I got from Sculptistry. Unfortunately, she no longer sells 3D like blanks like this, but I will link a couple of options down in the description box. So I went ahead, and this is sort of like the topper base, and then this bow, I spray painted the base green, and then the top I ended up doing this beige color. So I'm showing you this because my original vision for this just didn't come out. I really wanted to have either a red bow or a gold bow. I went over to my spray tent and I had neither of those colors. And I knew that it wasn't going to look right if I hand painted it. It just wasn't going to give me the vibe that I wanted. So I used the beige color that I had in the Color Shop paints and I attempted to salvage the look that I was going for with adding a little bit of like gold mica or pigments to some UV resin and brushing that on. So I'm going to show you the process of me doing this, and it wasn't giving. It was not my vision. I didn't love it. I felt like it was too yellow for the gold that was on the tumbler. I just felt like it wasn't vibing with what I needed. This was too much of like a rich gold, and I really needed more of like that metallic gold look. So I ended up going out, grabbing some metallic gold paint, and we respray painted that so that it was that beautiful gold color that I was looking for and envisioning. And I'm so happy that I went out and grabbed that paint, because that first version it wasn't doing what I wanted it to, and it was bothering me for sure. So we're going to go ahead and assemble our topper. So on the back, we're going to use some small magnets, and I'm going to place my first set of magnets down here onto the base here. So I've already like measured it on my top, and then we'll go ahead and cure that with the UV resin. And then what you're going to see me do next is I'm going to put this topper back on the lid after I apply the two magnets that are going to stick to these. So it's sort of like a double magnet look. So this is kind of like the quick and easy way to make sure that your magnets get lined up. Instead of trying to then adhere the magnets directly to the lid, go ahead and adhere them to where they're going to stick on your topper base, and then make sure it's going to be level and fit. Make sure you don't need a third magnet, of course, but then you're going to go ahead and take that off, and you're just going to apply a drop of UV resin to the bottom of the magnets, okay? Don't do too much that you overflow it and it ends up over the sides, because then that would make it impossible for you to get the magnets apart. But doing this and then curing the underside of your lid is going to ensure that you have the magnets in the perfect place on your topper and not having them accidentally be misaligned because you didn't quite measure it exactly as you wanted to for the top of your lid. So now I have a set of magnets that's attached to my top, and then a set of magnets that's attached to the actual base of the topper, so that I can just literally snap that right in, magnetize that right to itself, and it's perfect and in the perfect spot. Now we're going to go ahead and adhere the bow to the base. So I'm just using Bob Smith's 30-minute epoxy. to adhere this. You could use regular epoxy, but I wanted it to be a little bit quicker. I probably will end up going over the entire thing with UV resin and maybe a little bit of Diamond Magic or something to give a little extra sparkle. But for this part, we're going to add a little bit of like a green base to this topper here. So to the flat base of the topper. So I've mixed a little bit of fresh green from Vinyl Gallery. It's another pigment that I will link in the description box. And I've mixed my 2 equal parts of Bob Smith's 30-minute epoxy, and then we're just scooping that up and making a thin layer on top of the topper base to adhere our bow to. So once I've gotten this all smoothed out, I'm trying to make sure I have one nice even coat, and then I have coated the entire thing because you are going to see a bit of the edge of this topper base on the lid of the cup. So I want to make sure that you can see all of that green pigment all the way throughout. But we'll go ahead and we will set this on our topper base here so that it doesn't, you know, wobble on the table. And then we'll go ahead and set the bow, the gold bow, on top. I'm pushing the bow kind of backward a little bit so that it's back towards the base and there's enough space for the straw. And then that was it. So I may go ahead and add a little bit of UV resin just for longevity for the topper. But other than that, I did 2 final coats on the tumbler and this is how it came out. I love this look and I'm not usually a traditional red and green girly, but this was beautiful. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys again in the next one. Bye!